Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the Tom. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighbourhood-friendly Kiwi, Tash from Middle Earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her Phoenix Rising era.
Settle down onto your favourite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords, and royalty of the Tom. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Easter eggs, and Colin's a sad sack today, deep diving into the connections of our favourite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable Colin sulking, and therefore will contain spoilers.
Looks like we're going to have words about Colin today.
Oh, there's words.
I mean, I see him more as worried than sulking. Anyways, dearest listeners, the Bridgerton drawing room has never gone from quiet to chaos so fast as the morning after Colin Bridgerton's wedding. Colin is wanting Penelope to put him in the game to help, but he isn't quite sure who the rival is until his new wife enters the room and discloses that her secret is outside of their circle of control. Colin now fully embodies Anthony Bridgerton and makes the exact same mistakes he was so angry with his family for making with him. Eloise eats 2 healthy portions of crow as she realizes she really underestimates her friends. Portia is the most surprised, finding out her daughter was squirreling away money while she ate potatoes, and Philippa waited 18 months to marry her beloved Finch. This scene is a Ladies Bridgerton favorite of the second half, so this may be heated, chaotic, and sometimes misguided. But that is what this scene is all about, isn't it, friends?
Are we still friends after this? I don't know. We'll find out. Stay tuned to find out on the latest episode of the Ladies Bridgerton.
I think Colin really steps up in this scene, though. Like, I don't want to call him sad, sulky Colin, because I think he shows a lot of promise. I mean, he's totally embodying Anthony, which I don't like. But I have my notes. I will be able to defend.
On God.
You bring your prosecution. I have a good defense.
You can't hit me. I'm pregnant.
You want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
What I can't handle is pot snacks. I'm already nauseous.
Okay, so Pod Snacks again this week is sponsored by Dye. So thank you very much for donating to Buy Me a Coffee for our Pod Snacks. If anybody else wants to be a sponsor of Pod Snacks, please just head over to Buy Me a Coffee. You'll find the link in our pinned posts on our Facebook group page. And I believe it's Buy Me a Coffee, Tosh the Kiwi, and Lady Patty. That's what I think it is for sure. But my pod snacks today are, I ordered these 6 for $6 tacos from our local, it's a gas station that does food, and I really like their food. So, and you can't go wrong with dollar tacos. So I got 6 for $6 fried tacos and a frozen hot chocolate because I wanted a cold, refreshing drink today. And then for dessert, I have well, it's not them, it's a bakery that they sell this stuff there, but it's a lemon bundt cake.
I love anything lemony.
Oh, and a special shout out to Kay, who is also a sponsor of Pod Snacks, because she left a bag of limes at my house. So my waters are lime infused today.
Lime.
I feel like Amy March. I've had ever so many limes.
Today's Pod Snacks are also sponsored by my dad, as he is the one funding my zone electrolyte waters right now.
Yay, Dad!
He buys me like 15 a week and just puts them in my back fridge for me. And then he's like, I'm counting how many you've been drinking. I'm making sure you're drinking enough.
That's what I was expecting. I'm counting them.
He literally does. He knows when you've been drinking. He knows when you're dehydrated.
That's funny.
And then I also have barbecue kettle chips, which are the crunchiest of crunch. I love myself a good crunchy chip, but I ate half the bag and now I feel incredibly sick, so I'm just going to stick with my water.
Yeah, I think that's a plan.
But I was lazy. Patty, ever so kind. My dad turned up at 7:30 this morning and took the kids all to school for me. The last 3 days in a row, actually, because the roads have been a bit icy. We've been in 0 temps over here, and he let me go back to sleep because the last few days I've just been exceptionally tired, and I went back to sleep and woke at just after 11. So Patty's been waiting for me to wake from my slumber so we can duel it out. But I needed, to get enough rest to be able to sustain the episode.
No, I'd rather you sleep because that's when you're doing your most baking.
Yes,
We got to
yes,
make
we
sure
are.
that tangent queen is fully brain developed to be able
Oh,
to
we are
join our.
so close to halfway at this point because I'll be having a cesarean at 39 weeks and I'm 18 weeks currently. So I'm like nearly halfway. So close. So
Yep.
close.
I'm not counting it down or anything.
Get this child out of me when they are fully developed, but get them out.
Okay, Bridgerton news. This is all about projects today, people doing different things. First of all, Simone Ashley has a new project that will drop in a couple of days, actually. I've not heard anything about this until it's about to drop on Apple TV.
Wow.
It's called The Tempting Madness, and it looks like it's a thriller type thing. But yay, Simone Ashley. So excited. I do not have Apple TV currently, but I hope that other people support you. And when I do my streaming service rotation, I might take on another month of Apple TV to watch it.
Nice.
And then two, Julia, this is all the battle of the pay streaming services, all these projects. Julia Quinn is featured in the Financial Times Lunch with the Financial Times column. It requires a subscription to read it, so I've not read it. But the highlights from the article, she talks about Bridgerton, of course. She talks about her new project that's been out for a few months, JQ Editions, where it's like a monthly subscription service of things tied to other historical romance authors that she likes, and some political activism thrown in there for spice. And then the last thing I have, and mind you, I want to give the byline to the Simone Ashley project 2K. She's the one who let me know about that. This last one just popped up today. Chris Fulton was announced by Masterpiece PBS, so I didn't need to vet it because that's who it popped up under. That he is going to be playing Alistair in Monarch of the Glen, and that is coming to Masterpiece, which airs on PBS in the US in 2027.
Interesting.
So we'll
Why
get
does
a little
PBS
bit
sound
of
like a sandwich?
it's public broadcasting station.
Not
It's
not peanut butter
our
sandwich.
no. PBS is it's always been a nonprofit television network. It's not like the big networks. Like there's no advertising. They collect money from people, sponsorships and things. The government used to sponsor them, but our dear leader stopped that. But people are still donating to them. If you follow them on TikTok, there's a link in their bio where if you love PBS and you want to continue their work, please go and donate to them because that's all the children's programming I grew up with. Like we didn't have Nickelodeon and stuff when I was a kid, so I watched on PBS. PBS brought you Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. PBS brought you Sesame Street. PBS
Okay.
brought The Letter People. But they all and Bob Ross. Bob Ross was on his Joy of Painting show was on PBS. Okay. This Old House originated on PBS before it got the rights to it got bought by HGTV and Discovery. So it had all those type of shows on it for a long time. But one of my favorite shows that it's always had is Masterpiece. And what Masterpiece is like the closest thing you could get to theater in your home before the Pro Shots started coming to Disney Plus. We'll say it would do theater productions of things. Pro Shots, it is what brought the US Downton Abbey. I watch Downton Abbey every Sunday night on Masterpiece on PBS. So things from other countries that we wouldn't necessarily get here, Masterpiece brought them before the age of the streaming service. So I'm super excited because Masterpiece has always brought the best of the best British network television to the US. So I'm kind of excited for that. But again, because we're in the age of streaming, Masterpiece is probably like I don't have pay cable, so I don't know. I think a lot of Masterpiece they air on YouTube, so hopefully they will put this through their Masterpiece channel on YouTube, which then I'll be able to watch it for free.
Nice. All right, let's jump into today's episode. For today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and not fight until until the death.
Why are you reading the end already? Like she doesn't even want to get into it. She's like, "We're done."
We are we're done. I don't like. Okay, let me preface this with I stand Colin so hard. And this is just one of the episodes where I really, really struggle with him because he goes from being sweet, loving, emotionally available Colin to Anthony. And it's like, you know how guys are like, you're in the honeymoon period and the girls are acting so, or women, they call us girls, are acting like on their best behavior. And then as soon as you get married, it all flips. And it's like, it feels the opposite here. Like they get married and then he turns straight into Anthony. Like, I'm not having a bar of that. I'm not
So
like,
here's the thing. There's a couple of things in this scene that as I rewatched it, taking my notes, I saw themes I had not seen before. And one of them really stands out later on in the scene, but I'll bring it up now because I'm defending Colin to you in this moment, where he says, "This is the only way forward." And I realize that's a theme
are you a
in this whole.
Mandalorian, sir? Like, you don't get to decide this is the way.
Well, because Portia says it later to Penelope after Penelope finds out about Dundas and the fraud scheme. Portia says, there may have been other ways forward.
Yeah.
I just didn't see them
Didn't
at
see
the
them in that
time.
moment. Yeah.
And I think that this, even though other characters are saying this, I think that this is truly messaging, theming for Penelope because she created Whistledown and took on Whistledown because she felt alone and isolated in her home. She's super hyper independent. She does not like people helping her. Even throughout this whole scene, she's trying to get Colin to stand down. She doesn't want help. She wants to figure it out on her own. And I think this theme of this is the only way forward and other people saying it is kind of like it helps her realize that there's nothing wrong with partnership, that they can work as a team and be when you have more people involved, because most of her life for the last 3 or so years has been in secret. She's had a secret identity. This whole business has been in secret and she's done it all herself.
The
But now
problem
she's realizing
he doesn't want a partnership here. He wants to do the controlling, and that's where I find fault with it. That he's not even like this is her life's work, and he's like, well, no, you're my wife now, so I'll take care of business. Like as if like
well,
you're just a girl. I'm just a girl. Like no, Colin, I am
well,
Lady
and like,
Whistledown.
and as a fixer, I'm definitely a fixer that when somebody brings a problem to me, I immediately want to fix it. And our Colin has said since the first episode that all he has wanted to do is earn back the favor of the one person who has truly appreciated him. And in the end, I don't think he feels like he's earned back her favor. I think that he threw himself on his knees at her feet. She willingly married him, and he's still trying to earn her favor. And I think in this moment, because as we come into the scene, we see it's Bridgerton drawing room, it's dead. Nobody's in there, which tells you how early in the morning it is. He is by himself, facing away from the door, facing the wall. It's not even the window if you look. He's not looking out the window.
I mean,
He is
come on, there
looking.
was a party. Violet's hungover. She's in bed.
He was looking at. Well, the party ended early, but he's looking at the wall. He's sitting at the chessboard, which we don't watch a
Especially,
lot of other Bridgerton content, but I do remember watching a video where somebody talked about the fact that the Queen and Lady Danbury were
I was
playing
about to
chess,
say,
and then Colin was sitting at the chess table in this scene.
unable to know what move to make to get to his end goal.
Well, I don't even think it's unable to know the move to make to get to his end goal. I think when you look at Lady Danbury and the Queen, and we talked in the last episode, they're both playing chess. One is actually playing on the board, and one is playing in the mind,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Colin is sitting at the table, not even facing the chessboard, and the other chair's empty. He doesn't know who he's playing against, so he can't even start the game. And that's why he jumps up and he turns into Antony, because he finally has a rival when she mentions Cressida. Because right now, his only options are the Queen, and that spells disaster for Bridgerton, the family, and the Featheringtons. I have a whole list of this later in my notes. But it's also possible that the person he has to play chess against is his wife, and he does not want to do that.
No. And I mean,
So
you
I
said
think we come into this scene, when we come into this scene, he's sitting there like worried. He's chewing over this whole problem, much like if you think about the books where he said he couldn't think in the room with her and he had to go to Bridgerton House.
yeah.
He's trying to come up with a plan where Everyone wins.
Yeah, but I mean, the funny thing is you basically say that Eloise eats humble pie quite a few times in this conversation, but I actually think that she is the calm. She was who I would normally expect Colin to be in this moment. You know, like
Oh, in the moment with Colin, very much so. I'm
yes,
talking about there's two moments
yeah,
after
I know
that.
I know the ones you're talking about, but
Yeah.
but
That just
I
the
don't
look
know,
on her face, she's like, damn, I was wrong.
like when someone is like so deep in their emotions that they can't actually see something clearly and they just feel like everything is the end of the world. And I think Eloise is like the voice of reason here. Like, I
Yeah.
was once accused by the queen, it was fine, like the Bridgertons will be fine, stop stressing, like we always like they're the cockroaches of the world, they're always going to be able to survive a nuclear blast.
Well, that's in my notes too. I just want to, like, when we come into this scene, the whole Bridgerton drawing room is dead. Now, mind
Yeah.
you, Colin has not lived outside of the home for very long. And when he was isolating himself at home, he chose his bedroom or the study, right? But he
Mm,
put himself in the Bridgerton drawing room, which tells you he is waiting for someone.
yeah,
He wants to talk to someone and talk it out with them. Personally, it could be Benedict, because I think in the end, now
I was
that they're
thinking
married,
Violet.
I don't think Violet, because of the Whistledown thing. He would have to reveal Whistledown to someone. So he was either waiting on Eloise, who already knew, or Benedict, who he knew he could trust, and Benedict couldn't do anything because he was already married to Penn.
Hmm.
Because his goal here is Antony cannot find out. We have to fix this before Antony finds out. We have to fix this before Dundas finds out, because this will be the nail in the Featherington coffin in regards to that fraud scheme, because it's going to look like Penelope married a Bridgerton to save the Featheringtons, and like the Featheringtons could lose their title altogether. And they have to do something before Violet and the rest of
Can
Mayfair
you
finds out.
imagine the fight that would occur between that would be like not a brother ending fight, but like it'd be pretty bad if Anthony found out that Benedict went behind his back while he was in the house and paid the sum that Cressida was requesting. And he would have had to have done it behind Antony's back because Antony is actively there at the time. He would lose the plot.
Well, I think that I kind of thought that for a minute, because we know Antony was at the wedding. So the assumption is that Antony and Kate are in the house at this time, right?
Mm,
That they are preparing to travel, but they haven't left yet.
yeah.
So part of me thought maybe he was trying to go to Antony for advice. But in the end, I was like, no, because of
Kate,
what he's
yes, Antony never.
possibly Kate, because what he ended up saying at Francesca's wedding about their mother talking to Lord Anderson and just glad that Antony is left. I think Colin is always going to view Antony as judgmental and overbearing. So I don't think he would have gone to him for advice. So I
No.
think Eloise walking in the room, and she was walking by. She wasn't even going to walk in until she saw and recognized it was Colin. And even though she was very quietly walking in, he still heard her before she coughed. But I like that
He was
she politely
listening. Yeah.
coughed, because she was interrupting his brooding. And I did call it brooding here. But I love the conversation she has. And this is a mirror to the conversation they had in the study, where he was trying to get her to forgive Penelope because the engagement had just been announced. But now he doesn't know. She thinks he's mad at Penn. I don't think he's still mad at Penn. I think he just doesn't see a way out. And so she thinks she's trying to get him to forgive Penn. But I think he just wanted to talk to someone other than Penelope, who knew what was going on, because he didn't want to out her, right?
Mm.
He's protecting her 100%. He wants to make sure. I mean, he even he lied to Benedict and Antony the night before, both of them. Not
Mm.
lying on purpose, but just purposely not answering their questions so that he would not out her.
Mm.
And so I love Eloise here, though, because you can tell, especially when she says, you're going to resolve things, because she finally feels resolution with Penelope. So she knows, like, they love each other. They're not going to last. They're not going to be mad at each other for long, right? But I love that she's
I thought
able to encourage him, and she knows what I find. Like, a lot of people say that he's mad in this scene. I don't see him as angry. And she cuts right to it when she sits down and he said he's trying not to think about yesterday, which was his wedding day. So that's harsh. She
Yeah.
said, tried to be humorous, like, oh yeah, I think Mama was just glad that the queen graced your wedding.
Like what she said, I think Mamad was just thrilled. Really? Thrilled that the
I
wedding
think
got.
she was I think she was trying to go for humor and it fell flat. And that's why
I
she
was
said
like,
you
girl, like,
she
come
realized
on.
he was deeper in the brooding than she thought because Colin always lightens the mood with a joke, right? That his
Yeah.
mother has said this. She tries to do the same thing and it doesn't work.
Like,
So
if you
she
pulled this line about Portia, it would make more sense because Portia is such a social climber that even if the queen coming to the event was a bad thing, she would still spin it as, well, the queen attended my event. Did they attend yours? You know, she's that way. Whereas Violet, it almost not avoids the queen, but kind of because the queen's wrath can go one of two ways and you never know which way it's going to go. So like I just prefer avoid it than be on either side of the end of the
yeah.
spectrum.
But the reason I think that Eloise said their mother is because she knows what Colin is worried about is
The Queen's Wrath.
no, protecting the family.
Yeah, okay.
Because the whole Marina thing, everything that got talked about then was protecting the family. Everything with Daphne that happened, like it's all about protecting the family name. And you can hear when Colin says it, don't besmirch the Bridgerton name. He says it twice in this whole season. He has been brought up that you their reputation is their name. So she knows that's what he's worried about, and she's trying to tell him like it's not that big of a deal. We've survived. I've survived this kind of thing. Sure she has scars, which I think her scars are Theo and Penelope, but she doesn't even say, don't let Penelope be your scar. Don't let Antony be your scar. Like, she doesn't name a name. She says your marriage. And I think that's because she knows the two of them both can hold a grudge forever, and she's still operating on Colin's angry. But I think she knows him being there that early in the morning, the day after his wedding, which is technically their honeymoon period, that he is isolating himself from Penelope and
Yeah.
he's running away from the problem, and it's going to make it worse.
Well,
Like,
and she already watched one sibling go through exactly this. She watched Daphne and Simon nearly let their marriage become a scar. And it was awful to
mhm.
watch for those few episodes. But like, I find watching these parts of Pen and Colin being disjointed way more painful than I did Daphne and Simon because at least Daphne and Simon, they were still fighting for each other in their own way
Right. And I
throughout the
think
whole
that
thing.
when she says, don't let your marriage be the scar, and he recoils, he stands up like he's so frustrated.
Like,
In that moment, I realized when I watched it this last time, I'm like, can you imagine what's going through his head? Because with Marina, he barely knew her. He was young. He obviously made a huge mistake. He knows that now, right? It hindsight's 2020. He sees the mistake he made. He sees how he almost ruined the family. Definitely contributed to a lot of hassle for no reason. But here he thought it was gold. This is a girl I've known since I was a child. I know her inside and out. I know everything about her. Nothing is gonna come out that is scandalous. I found the perfect mate. This is somebody I don't have to worry about, only to
sweet,
find out she's
quiet
Whistledown.
pen. Yeah.
Right.
Can we do a fun? I have just decided on long form that I would like to do after this.
Okay,
I want to
let me
muse
make a note.
through. I want to muse through
You hear
how
me
the
flipping all
different
my pages?
partners would react to find out that, like, let's throw all logistics out the window of they could or couldn't be whistled down for this reason. How would the different spouses respond to finding out their partner is Lady Whistledown, including Benedict? Because why not?
Finding out their partner's Whistledown or finding
Yeah.
out Penn is Whistledown?
No, no, no. Finding out if because at this point none of the other family members actually know who it is outside of
Right.
this room. So like if Anthony found out it was Kate, for example, if Sophie found out it was Benedict after all this time, like I just think it'd be a really fun episode to like kind of muse through like how the different
Ooh.
relationships would handle it. What if not Colin? What if Simon found out it was Daphne all this time?
Well, and we can do that, and it'll follow
What if it
that
was
trend where
Violet?
where you have to say something in the form of like sadness, anger, whatever.
I have those notes somewhere. I just don't know
We
where my
will
book
no,
is
we'll just
currently.
have the same line. you are Whistledown and you have to say it like the other person, and then they can be shorts. We can make
Hmm.
shorts from it.
I just thought that would be really fun because I was like thinking it through and I was like, oh, I don't really want to retract from this episode because I already know it's going to be a long one because we have a lot of emotional digging to do in this episode. So I was like, let's
Yeah.
make that a long form.
Yeah, so and I'm good with that, so that's on the docket. But like I just feel like right now Colin feels like he can't win. He wants a battle he can win
Hmm.
because he has been trying to feel like he is
Trying to
deserving.
feel less, trying to be less.
Well, and not even that. Like at this point, he has gotten the girl. He has the woman he loves, but he doesn't feel like he deserves her. She's a baddie. Like she started a business as a child. She
Literally.
weaved herself in and out of the dredges of the bad parts of town to get her stuff published. She worked, and remember, they don't know about Genevieve yet. So as far as he knows, she did it all on her own. And
I think he suspects after he caught her outside the Modiste.
right. I think he does. But she's also, he told her mother she is the most eligible of them. He believes her to be beautiful. He loves her hair cascading down her shoulder. Like, I think he thinks she's beautiful, like Aphrodite, who is his favorite goddess. She has more money within her own control than he does. So she has more money than him. She's beautiful. She could have anybody she wants. She was about to get proposed to by this super rich, titled dude who has a lot of power in the ton, not because of his personality or his name, just because of his money and his estate. And she chose Colin instead. And I think that he's currently suffering for that. And he's trying to figure out what he can do to earn it. And her finally coming in and saying that Cressida found out is why he jumped up as quickly as he did and started acting like Antony, because he felt like, finally, I know how to handle Cressida.
So,
I've
okay,
done it before.
super side tangent, but the way that you phrase something, you know how like we always say that we have not echolalia, but like what is the one where you hear the words and then the song pops into your head?
It's like that's part of pattern, like the pattern of
There's
it.
a specific name for it though,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always listed in one of the ADHD traits. Not me, not I.
It's like word
Definitely not.
association when you hear them in
Yes.
the same order.
So the like yes, of course, Yellow had to be the walking down the aisle song. It had to be. But Tenerife Sea by Ed Sheeran, which was my walking down the aisle song. You look so beautiful in that dress. I love your hair like that. The way it falls down the side of your neck, down your shoulder and back. We are surrounded by all of these lies and people who talk too much.
Oh yeah, that's this whole
You
scene
got the
in a
kind of look
nutshell.
in your eye as if nobody knows anything but us.
Well, and there's absolutely no background music in this whole scene. I don't know if you noticed
No, no,
that.
no, no. There is, and it's really super random because I was listening
Is
to
it
like I was
super soft? Because when I watched
super super soft. I was watching it and
when
I
I
was
watched
like,
it today, I was like, there's no music in this scene at all that I could hear.
there is, and it's super super random because I don't actually recall hearing this music before, and I paused it 3 times to make sure there wasn't like an ad playing in the background or it wasn't like something in my like
Yeah.
some sound
Is
from
that
my
my
house, and
phone?
I was like, yeah, I'm like, where is this noise coming from? And then I realized I was like, oh, it's actually in Bridgerton. Like, I don't recall this in this scene,
That's funny. But
but
I
it
would say
sounds
like
like a
for
background
me,
sound, not.
yeah, for me, for Colin in this scene, if I was gonna pick a song, it would be that old song. Put me in, coach. I'm
Yeah.
ready to play
But I meant
today.
specifically
Like,
for walking down the aisle. Like that was the
yeah,
that was.
like I just think that Colin wants to fight for Penn. He wants to slay the dragon. He wants to earn her favor.
Oh, she
He
wants to
just
slay
doesn't
his
know.
dragon.
He just doesn't know. And I think this is the Don Quixote of it all, right? Because they brought up Don
Mm,
Quixote as a metaphor in a previous scene, the mirror scene to this one,
yes.
that he wants to be chivalrous and he wants to earn the favor of his damsel fair. He just doesn't know who he's fighting.
Well,
So when Penelope finally names a name, he's ready to go.
and I think the part that I need to give him credit for here is the fact that this is 1820 and women didn't fight their own battles back then. It was very much a man went to bat for you because that is what a man does. And this is harkening back to their previous fight outside of the Modiste is what use am I to you then? Like,
Yeah,
what
what
good am
good am I
I?
to you?
What is
Right.
my purpose? You know, I finally thought my purpose was being your husband, being your protector, being your partner. And now you're saying you don't need that. Or at least I'm internalizing that you're saying, even though she wasn't, he was internalizing that.
She was, because she's super hyper independent and she's always done things on her own. And
Mm.
when people find out stuff, like when Prudence found out she was writing to Colin, she ended up getting belittled and demeaned and dismissed by her mother and Prudence.
But
So she doesn't publicize what she does a lot. And Eloise has put her down a lot over the years for different things, for, liking society and stuff like that. So she's not really given that part of herself to anyone. And I think she's a little reticent to do it now. And she was trying to tell Colin that she was Whistledown, but she couldn't because she'd never given up that intimate of information about herself before. And
hmm.
I think he's always come from a big family, his parents had this amazing partnership. He wants that. So he's going for
But
that. And
he
she's
never
like kind
saw
of,
he never saw the path to get there though. And
yeah.
and
Well, she
I
didn't
will
offer one up either because she was struggling to let go of her own control.
and you know what? I actually very much vibe this, and I think you will too, because I recall my first boyfriend saying, like, you are so independent. Like, I don't think you actually like me. Like, you don't let me in. You don't like I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know anything because you just do
Hmm.
what you want to do. And I'm like, you know what? Like I've been on my own for 21 years, doing what I want for 21 years, not having to answer to anyone, just go off into my little book corner and have my book boyfriends, and they're way better than you.
Well, and back in the day when I first met Smaug, I was very hyper independent, but I painted that picture like I was a feminist, right?
Hmm.
And I did not want a man opening the door for me. I did not want a man carrying things for me like I'm some weak female. And like to this day, Smaug will not ask, like, he won't try and help me. I can tell when he wants to help me, and I'll be like, I'm close. Like, I'll let you
Steven
know when I
mocked
need
me
help.
yesterday. I couldn't open my new knife, and he goes, "Does little Dashy need a man to help her?" And I was like, "Don't you even! I am in a weakened state because of your child. Stop."
Well, yeah, and Smaug back in he wanted to help me carry stuff, and I would be like multi carrying things like boxes after Christmas break, carrying boxes back into my dorm room. And he's like, "Let me take something. I can help." And I'm like, "No, I got it. I can do this
Yes.
myself."
Yeah.
And so he's just like,
Pen has been independent, and granted, like obviously, she's what 18, 19 now.
"Pen,
Yeah.
20.
20.
She's 20."
Okay, she's so literally the same age that I was when I got my first boyfriend. And like, it is a really hard thing when all your friends around you are dating and you just don't really have interest because you are not smarter than your friends, but like the guys your age are just not that smart. You
You're
know,
more
it's all
mature
about
than the
partying and
offerings.
drinking and
Yeah.
and that's just not your vibe. So like
And
it
it's creepy if a guy who's the right maturity is
yes.
interested in you because their age doesn't match your age.
Yes, exactly. Like, yeah, there is like when you were 18 to 20, like there's definitely like a more of a
Well, for me, I'll say 16 because I had a couple of guys interested in me when I was 15, 16 that were creepy because of their age, but maturity wise, we were on the same page.
yeah. So like I very much empathize with Pen in this kind of blight of like when all your friends around you are dating and you are made to feel weird for not being in that niche, and now that she is with someone, it is a learning curve to learn how to let someone in. And that's what I was saying about how Colin never got to see the path that his parents took to get to that good place that they were. They didn't just fall into it. They were fighting over pumpkin pies and tricking each other and pranking each other and all the rest of it. So says the book, but not says the TV series lore. But, like they didn't just
Well,
fall into the
supposedly
perfect marriage.
JB and Shonda both in recent interviews said that they are negotiating side stories with Netflix,
Yeah.
and one they would like to do
Oh,
is
I had a
Violet's.
dream the other day that we got a whole side story, but I don't even remember what it was now.
Shonda said that she's very interested that Violet could carry a whole limited series, but there's nothing set in stone. Like this was just a talking about it kind of thing, right? But they
Yeah.
are actively negotiating, I guess.
But
But yeah, like
you know what I'm saying? Like Violet
But at their age, I mean, because he's only 23, and I think at their age, most of us that young, we grew up with fairy tales, we grew up with rom-coms where when they finally get together, that's the end of the story.
but he
It's
romanticized
happily
his
ever
parents.
after that, right?
He romanticized his parents because obviously
Mhm.
they were so deeply in love when his dad passed. But he didn't see that in order to get to that good place in a marriage, it takes a lot of hurdles and doesn't mean necessarily you had a rough marriage to start with. It just means like it takes time to learn how to compromise and work together and communicate with each other. That's not necessarily something that comes naturally to everyone. And especially in a household where he has been raised to communicate, not that he always does, but like that's what Violet has always
Well, and sorry to
shown to
interrupt, but
them.
it just popped in my head because of the way you said something.
Hmm.
This is exactly what Kate was trying to tell him the night before the wedding. He thinks Anthony and Kate's marriage is perfect. And
Yes.
she's like, oh, no, no,
No, no,
no.
no.
It took us a long time to get where we are.
Yeah.
It's just, you don't see that stuff. Like, they both disagree in private, right? And I think that Colin is trying to emulate that. He wants their stuff to be between the two of them. And yeah, he came to Bridgerton House, but that was just, I think he just wanted to commiserate with somebody else who knew the whole story, not to talk about Penn, because when Eloise says, you know, you're going to resolve things with, and he turns and sees Penn and realizes Eloise is about to say her name, he says her name like Penelope,
Yeah.
because he doesn't want her
It's like an
feeling like they
accusation. Yeah.
no, he does. It didn't sound accusatory to me when he says, what are you doing here? That kind of does.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he didn't want her knowing they had been discussing her. He doesn't want her to ever feel terrible. And he knows that the one thing that broke her heart was when he was
He
talking
was
about
talking
her
badly about her behind her
behind
back.
her back.
But I think he's also failing
I said
in this.
that in quotes for people who listen to the podcast, just in case this scene never makes it into a highlight reel.
Yeah. But what I was meaning is that Colin is looking at Penelope as independent and not selfish, but like wanting to do things on her own or whatever, not letting him in. Whereas he is failing to see her side of it, that she has had to do everything on her own. She has never had the support of another person, even as far as Eloise, because Eloise was always what I say goes and what I feel is what we both feel, you know. So she's never actually
Mhm.
been supported by Eloise as far as having her
She's
own
not been
independent
supported
thoughts and
by
feelings.
anyone.
No. And so Colin's failing to see that he's come from a supportive family where if he has an issue he can go to them, whether that be Anthony or Violet
And
or Benedict or
he's also been raised in the patriarchy, because I say this kind of later when he does start being Anthony, that the patriarchy raises young boys to
yeah.
believe that women need them, especially in their time frame, because a woman wouldn't survive without either a father alive or a husband. Because not because women actually died if their husband died, but because they weren't allowed in society anymore. And most people in society are like, oh my gosh, look what happened to them. Like, they're still surviving, they're living their lives. But
And yet look at Lady D.
right. But Lady D also
She's
has
the
an
fiction, not the
alignment
girl. Yeah.
with the queen, right? So people really villainize, or that's not the word I want to use, but they make it seem like it's a disaster. Like what happened to the Dashwoods in Sense and
Mhm.
Sensibility. People
Yeah.
view that as a disaster. So that's what they mean in that time frame of women cannot survive without a man. But boys are brought up to believe that women need men. They're the weaker sex. They're the fairer sex. Like, they're supposed to be prettier than you, and you have to fight off the other men with a stick. They're weaker than you. You have to be strong for them. They could get hurt. You have to protect them. And that is what Colin, who also read,
Hmm.
like, I mean, he even brought up Don Quixote. Like, I know he was a reader. He's just not as avid of a reader as Eloise. And he read Greek mythology. And if you look at Greek mythology, there's nothing but heroism in it, right? There's a lot of strong women, and I think that's why he loves himself a strong woman. But they still all end up needing a man to marry, to have kids, whatever.
You know, all those like RIP, you know, you would have loved this. RIP
Right.
Colin Bridgerton, you would have loved the Odyssey.
Right. And you wouldn't care how they cast people in it.
Mm-mm.
But I think that their arc, their friends to lovers arc, is not necessarily getting over that hump of going from friends to lovers. That was easy because they've already had feelings for each other forever. I think their true hump is Colin was raised believing that he is supposed to lead, he is supposed to protect, he is supposed to. That's what a husband does. He's
Mm-hmm.
dealing with his patriarchal conditioning. Penelope has grown up in trauma. She's very hyper independent. She believes she wants to do everything on her own. He believes he's supposed to do everything on
Well,
his
it's
own.
not that she
And
believes
they
you've got
need,
to do everything on your own. She has been raised in a way that she has seen how a man has let her down, and
oh,
you
yeah,
have to be your own queen. You know, like you are not Colin's queen. I am a queen on my own right. You know,
right. And
very
I
much
think
Lady Danbury
their
vibes.
arc together, what brings them together is realizing they can, it's them against the world now, right? Like they need to be on the same team. And I think when we see everyone says it's her telling him she's pregnant in the study, it's not. I think that was more metaphorical of we're in this together finally, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they plan everything together. Like he's at Bridgerton House the day he knows his mother's going to get that letter.
Mm.
They did this together. Penelope got up on that stage, that dance floor, and she did all that herself. But Colin was part of the plan. So in this moment, though, Colin doesn't know what the plan is. He doesn't know what or who to fight. And Penelope comes in and I wrote this down specifically. Like, I love that he tries to cover when he sees Portia come in.
Mm-hmm.
And she says she already knows, Colin, you don't have to hide your ire because she
Well,
thinks he's angry.
and I think the line before this is I was not expecting you I was not expecting to see you till later this evening. Like it kind of felt like a I'm gonna say our time because people are gonna wonder why we're not together otherwise, but
Mm-hmm.
like I don't want to see you. I'm gonna avoid you for as long as I physically can.
Oh, yeah, that was straight up a sentence like, did you not get the clue train earlier that I did not want to be near you today?
I'm on
Like,
the
for sure.
avoidance train. Choo choo.
Like, when I said I was going to Bridgerton House, I meant I was going to
Alone.
Bridgerton House.
Yeah.
But when she says, like, you don't have to hide your ire because she thinks he's angry, I love this. This is why I say that Pen is she's perfect. Like she's messy, but she's perfect because she understands Colin needs to process these feelings, needs to like she's giving him space. She's letting him know, I might be physically in your presence right now, but I'm not telling you not to be mad. You don't have to
Mm.
fake anything. She already knows you want to act mad at me, be mad at me. I don't
You know what?
care.
I
Well, I
think
mean, she
even
cares, but she's
I think
willing to live in the discomfort to give him the space to process.
I think even with Portia knowing, I don't think that Colin would ever air his dirty laundry in front of her, no matter
No,
what.
he wants their marriage to look perfect on the outside, just like he viewed Anthony and Kate looking perfect, and now he realizes
I
they
think
had problems, but
I think
nobody
it's more
saw it.
that he doesn't know how to be vulnerable in front of anyone except for Pen, and in order for them to actually talk it out properly, he needs to be vulnerable, and he can't do that in front of
He
the
can't
likes
do
of Eloise and
Well, he can't be
Portia.
vulnerable. Yeah, he can't be vulnerable at all with Penn right now because he's struggling with how well he actually knows her as well.
Yeah.
But I agree. He doesn't want to be vulnerable with people because usually when he gets vulnerable or when somebody sees a weak spot on him, they take over and he hates interference. He's a lot like Penn, where he wants to do things on his own.
Mm.
He wanted to clean up his own mess with Marina, but the family took
I think it's
over.
why he went on, his first Greek tour for so long.
Hmm.
And then went on the second one, and he would have been gone for so long if it weren't for the fact that he wanted to return to Penn. But I think like he went on these tours because it's the first time in his life where he gets to be truly independent. He doesn't have anyone else telling him what to do, where to go, who to see,
And
nothing.
his
He is
name
just
didn't matter.
Colin.
Yep, his
He's
name
just
did not
Pirate
matter.
Colin.
But I also love when Penn says you don't have to hide your ire. She's giving him the space to be angry, but she's also kind of saying like she's not shrinking herself
No.
to comfort him
It
so
sounded
that he can
it
feel
sounded a little bit
comfortable.
condemning to me, like as in like have your feelings, whatever, I don't care.
Yes and no. Like I think she knows she believes he's mad, and she's saying to him, I know why you're mad, because she says she already knows, so you don't have to hide your ire. Not that she talked about their marriage at all, she talked about Whistledown. So
Yeah.
she is acknowledging my being Whistledown pisses you off, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guess what? It pissed my mom off too. You guys can be mad together. It's kind
You
of
can have
like
a
how.
tea party over
Oh,
it.
and it pissed off Eloise also. Like, you
Yeah.
guys just be mad. I don't care. Like, I
Have a
think
tea
she's
party.
like,
Bitch about me all you want.
yeah, you guys now can commiserate together, have your Pen lied to me support group, whatever you need to do right now, you know?
The the PA support group. Penelope Anonymous.
Penelope Anonymous. Yeah,
Well,
Whistledowns
she was
Anonymous.
anonymous.
But and then this whole next part, it like, I can't believe we've talked as long as we did about this, but this whole next part is one of my favorite scenes in the second half, because Portia tries for privacy because
Yeah.
she doesn't realize.
Well, I mean, just before a little tangent, well, it's not a tangent, trying for privacy. How much privacy is there when they were in Bridgerton house that has hundreds of, well, not hundreds of servants, but dozens and dozens of servants, and a fucking dozen
Excuse me.
people that live there? Sorry for the language, people.
Who
Like,
could
there's
come in at
some
any time, mind
who
you.
could come in or
Anytime.
walk past at any time, just like Eloise did.
And you know what I noticed? I don't want to. I'm not racist. I'm going to say that, and I didn't get a chance to check, but I'm still going to bring it up because I think it is the same footman. I think the footman that comes in with
Colin.
Penelope
Yeah.
and Portia is the same one that let Penelope in the house for the marriage lesson.
Yeah.
And he does the same thing. As soon as he sees that Colin and Pen are talking, he bounces.
He's out. I'm out, sir. You need
But
anything?
that's like
Don't.
he's like, oh, they need privacy, obviously. But when Pen is like, oh, she knows as well.
She knows.
Portia's like, the whole of
knows.
Mayfair knows before your mother. Like, that cracks me up, that Portia's like, I see my hierarchy of where I stand. And then when Eloise says, so why do we know we know?
Why do we suddenly all know that we know? Yeah, I love it.
That reminds me of Friends. When Joey and Rachel
I know something. Do you know? Do you know what I know? I can't say what I know. Do you know what I know?
But then Phoebe is like, we can mess with them because they don't know we know. And they're like, Joey's like, no, well, they know I know. And she goes, yeah, but they don't know that we know they know we know.
Yeah. And then Rachel going over to the house and I just came over to borrow a lamp.
So that line just, that little line made me think of that whole scene from Friends. So even though this is the rom-com season and that's like most of their inspiration came from films, I really do think Friends was... I do
think they throw in these little moments of like nostalgia and also just to kind of break up how heavy this moment could be otherwise. Like we need it to not just be... Because otherwise it is like season 4 was treacherous to get through for the emotions. Like it was beautifully done, like the whole losing John, like the mourning, the loss.
Execution of season 4 was way more meticulous than execution of season 3,
but I also don't want to watch it again because it hurts to get through. There
was so much more of an emotional roller coaster that I haven't even been able to rewatch it. I know I'm going to have to, but I have not been able to.
Well,
I will say for the first time this week, I saw somebody brought up something from season 4, not a pollen scene, because every time I see a pollen scene when somebody talks about like the carriage 2.0 or whatever, I'm like, I should rewatch. But this is the first time that I actually wanted to rewatch it because of a Benedict and Sophie scene.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it was Mally, her meme she put out today.
Yes, Sophie!
About how Benedict has field experience, so he knows what it means when a person eats like that and they're super seductive when they eat. Like he knows what those feelings are, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna do it.
Which ironically, when you actually look at the years employed, and when I say employed, I mean like in a marriage or sexually active, Violet actually has the most experience.
Right, but she even looks surprised when she's aroused by Lord Anderson eating.
But I think it was just more like, I didn't think I could have these feelings anymore the way that I did with him.
It's like in Queen Charlotte, she's realizing her garden is blooming again, and then with Lord Anderson, she's like, oh,
It
and
has
it can
bloomed.
really bloom with the right gardener.
Yes.
This is the
From
first
my
time
original gardener, but this, this one has
this
a
is
little
the
bit more
first
flourish
time I
to it.
wanted a specific gardener.
Yeah.
So when Penn says Cressida found out my secret,
Yeah.
both Colin
Discovered.
and both Colin and Eloise look shocked, but for two different reasons. Like Colin looks to Eloise and then back to Penn, so
Because
he
Eloise
is.
is like, wait, that dumb bitch, and I searched for you for years,
I
and she
told her
found
she wasn't going to figure it out, and she figured it out. But like Colin looks
humble
back to
pie.
yeah,
How's
Colin
your mouth
looks
feel
back
with
to
humble
Eloise
pie?
and then looks back to Penn. Like he is like, Fuuuuuck across the whole screen. Like this is the
Yeah.
worst person of all the people that could find out. Why did it have to be the one person who tries to make Penelope's life
Life a misery.
miserable?
Yeah.
And Eloise is just like, I mean, jaw dropped, shock.
You keep
Like,
talking.
Cressida?
Yeah.
Cressida? And then when Colin goes, you can't be serious, and Eloise goes, how did she discover you? Like she just wants to know how it's possible that she underestimated Cressida so much. And she flat out like, I know she's thinking, man, I said the words, you will not discover her. You will not discover Whistledown. Like, I can't believe she figured it out. That cracks me up.
She's like, God damn
so
it.
much.
I put money on that bet.
And then at this point, we see Colin morph into Antony. It doesn't matter how, but we must prevent her from revealing it. And this is the moment because he becomes Antony, he again is falling victim to his belief system that his brothers have a leg up on him in terms of
Lime or is it
maturity.
apple?
I don't know. What are you eating?
Fruit salad, soft jellies.
I have no idea what
Apple.
it's gonna be.
We're good. We're safe. It's all good. I hate big lime flavor.
I think the reason that Colin digs deep here and goes with Antony's playbook is because he recently has seen Antony be in what he considers a perfect marriage. So even though he didn't like what Antony did in his time with Marina, Antony must know what he's talking about.
Well, it was more Daphne that took over, to be fair to
Yes.
Antony.
But Colin doesn't dislike Daphne.
Yeah.
He struggles with Antony because Antony judged him over Marina. So he's villainized Antony in regards to that whole thing.
Mm.
Not to mention Daphne redeemed herself by getting him an audience with Marina, where he could learn that Marina really did orchestrate this whole scheme.
I think it was more so that Marina never actually loved him. That was the nail in the coffin for him.
Yeah, but that was part of the scheme. She admitted, like, she told him she loved him in private, but wouldn't say it in front of his sister. And then she got really defensive about she had to do what she had to do because she didn't have support. And that's when he realized it was all a lie, that she was using him. It was about being used. Like, I still to this day don't think that he loved her in the way a lot of people see. I think his end goal was to be able to still
loved her. I think he had a crush and infatuation, and he saw some like idealistic life of.
I think he thought he would get to be in a drawing room with Penelope for the rest of his life because they were family, and he would get to save someone because Marina just had this air about her of she needed saving, and Penn said the words, she looks like she needs saving, and he jumped into action because Colin wants to be the hero. Just like he wants to be the hero here. But this next thing that Colin says tells me 100% that he is completely morphed into Colin, my wife, Bridgerton. He has put the hierarchy in the right order for priority for him. And he says, we will not let her besmirch Bridgerton name. So that's the base of the pyramid. Then he points to Portia.
No, but even before that, she said, I'm not asking for your help, which
I just want to be honest with you.
I just want to be honest. I merely just wanted to be honest with you. And I want to talk about that line because obviously they had just had that fight where he's like, well, what use am I to you? And now she's saying, I'm not asking for your help. I can do it on my own. And that's his biggest fear. And I think that is why he digs down and digs his heels in, because he's like, well, I don't care if you want my help or not. I'm a give it to you. I'm a Bridgerton. I'm
I don't
the
think
younger
it's because
brother of
I'm a
Anthony
Bridgerton.
Bridgerton. No,
I think because he says you don't get to a say in what we do,
it's not up
and
to you what we do. And I was like, excuse me, sir.
he said
I would have
we in
slapped
that
him.
moment. And I think the reason he said we, and he was including Eloise and her mother, is because he very much, they see each other very
Yeah.
clearly. They see each other's flaws very clearly. He knows she's hyper independent, and he knows that, like what she said in the street, I can take care of myself.
But
He's,
that line is one of the lines that for me ruins the entire illusion of Colin, my wife Bridgerton, because that is the most demeaning line I think I've ever heard him say. It's not up to you what we do.
yes,
And I
but
know
we've
you're going
said
to defend
before,
him, but it
we've
just.
said before, Colin is really good at words he can think out. That's why his journals are so well written. But when he has to speak in the moment, it's not as poetic. Like, it took him 6 seconds to even spit out, "What if I had feelings for you?" Right? And then you can tell what he says next, almost the when he's down on his knees, that's rehearsed. And he said in season 2, I rehearsed that for hours, going back and forth, rehearsing it. Colin writes something down and then rehearses that speech. He's not great with words in the moment. That's where his introversion comes in. And I think here, like, he meant one thing, but his mouth said it in a not so great
I
way.
think what he meant is you can't control what we do, but it just came out that way. But still, the way it came out may be very like annulment.
I think what he meant to say was, would you let us help you?
Mm.
We want to help you.
Mm.
It's not an obligation, because I am also a hyper independent person. And I can tell you how itchy scratchy it feels when people want to help me, because I feel like I owe them, or I feel like this is going to come up in the future and get used against me, or I feel
Or
like
they don't
they're
do it in the way
judging
that
me.
or they don't do it in the way that I want, and then I feel bad because I'm like, why would I just prefer to do it on my own?
Well, I mean, that's like a side effect, but for me, in the moment when somebody wants to help me and they help me, I feel shame that I couldn't do it myself, and I feel like I'm
Mm.
being a burden to them. I feel like they don't really want to help me, but they see me as weak. I feel like, especially now with my leg the way it is, I feel like they're getting a tick mark in a ledger that is going to get used against me later. Like, it's, I owe them something, or I'm going to upset them or make them angry, and they're going to say, "Well, I help you so much and this is how you repay me." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
these things have happened to me in my lifetime. So that's what I think about, and I think Colin was recognizing and letting her know, like, I know you don't want help, but we want to help you. Let us help. And because I think where this scene ran away for me, where it became not Colin and Penn anymore, was like after that point, because he says, like, you don't get a say in what we do, or whatever he says. And he turns away to Pace, right? And
What can we talk about
I'm trying to remember the
Portia's?
order of how things happen without looking at my notes.
Let's talk about Portia's kind of faith in humanity being restored, or at least faith in men being restored, because it said
Right,
if
that's
Miss
coming
Harper
up.
spreads this gossip, what gossip have you
Oh
got
yeah, that's
today?
where I was going. Yeah.
It will besmirch our Bridgerton name, the entire family, in which obviously Portia understands that he is very much saying, not just you are part of the
Not
family.
just, yeah, he pointed directly at her, which means he
Yes.
includes the Featheringtons in his family now.
Yes, and he said, I will not stand for anyone blackmailing my wife. Well, that is certainly a relief to hear, and I think it is because,
Oh god, she looked very relieved because she was worried he was going to throw Penn over.
yeah, because I mean, that is her narcissistic experience of the Bridgertons
Mhm.
was they threw me over the bus because of Marina's situation, not that I threw myself over the bus and they just threw it over me.
Well, no, I think that she really has spent, and I mean, you've seen the other Bennett sisters, so you know the scene where Mary finally stands up to her mother, and her mother breaks down and finally says, like, your dad didn't care if you guys got married. I'm the one that had to deal with all of that. He
Yeah.
he just said he would die one day, and it never mattered to him. I think Portia was in the same boat. Archibald only cared about gambling, his side women, and, like, he didn't even care about how it made his family look. He just wanted to have fun.
Hmm.
And Portia had to have all
Girls
the
just want to
responsibility.
have fun.
Yeah. not girls, lords. Lords
Yeah.
just want to have fun. So I think Portia has dealt with this responsibility for so long, and she's been disappointed by a man for so long, that she assumed Colin would fall into that barrel. And when he took responsibility for not just the Bridgertons, but also the Featheringtons and Penelope, and said
Yeah.
it with such conviction, she was like, oh, this is going to be different. And she ended up
Yeah.
turning the tide a little later away from Penelope, because she is the main person who has dismissed and overlooked Penelope all these years. And she does it one last, I don't want to say one last time because she does it a lot, but she kind of creates this whole 3 against 1 kind of thing. But when Penelope says, but wait, Colin, I have the money, I can just pay her, they're all surprised. We have 3 different kinds of surprise again.
I was
We have
wrong.
Colin.
It's Pear.
Oh, it's Pear.
Or maybe this one's Pear and the other one was, I don't know.
So we have Colin realizing his wife is basically a millionaire. It's like he just can't win. And literally the face on Luke Newton's face that he makes is like, God, I just can't win with this girl. Like, there's nothing I have that is any better than what she has. Why does this woman even want me?
I will never ever find anyone else's reaction as funny as Portia's, because I can literally see, you know, that like back in the 90s cartoons where like the eyes roll and it's like ding 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 and it's the money signs. That was literally Portia in that moment.
I don't like, I kind of see it differently. I think she is remembering dinners of potatoes. I think she's remembering hiding from the Finches because they were wanting to know about the dowry. You know, Eloise again, like, you've really made that kind of sum?
Yeah. Slight
And
me more, if we are being honest. She's like, well,
so
seeing as I have
Eloise
to be
again
honest
is like,
now.
dang. And I'm like, yeah, Eloise, call it just gossip again. Just gossip. Just gossip made me over 10,000 pounds in the early 1800s. Like, this is millions of dollars in today's money. Like, Eloise is like, and I think it's kind of like when you look at professions and you think a profession makes good money, and then you hear like somebody is doing something ridiculous, like selling feet pictures on OnlyFans, and they make more money than you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and this is literally is for real. I was a banking center manager for a bank. I made okay money. A friend of mine who was also a foster parent, when she adopted her kids and closed her home, so she wasn't being inspected as much, right? She started an OnlyFans to make extra money. And she was just letting people watch her paint her toenails and give herself a pedicure. Like, that's all she did. She didn't do anything really weird, right? Just, you pay me this, you pay me some money and I'll do a pedicure. That girl made twice the amount of money in a year that I did. And I'm just like, but I can't do that. Like, I personally just
selling
can't.
feet pics.
Right? Like, and it's like right now, like, as I'm looking at all these, like, how can I bring in a stream of income? And you hear all these
Patty
people.
turns to feet pics.
I sell digital products, and I'm just looking
I
at
bet
it
you do.
like, I mean, like, people who sell digital products on Etsy. Come on now. And there's just a part of me that's like, I just think, like, if I tried to do that, it would not work out as well as it's working for you. And half of these videos I think are false and fake, and they're just trying to get views and say they made as much money as they did. Like, that's how I think of things like that. But this is Eloise thinking this is a ridiculous job, and it's not real, and it's not doing anything to benefit Penn or the family. And here she's made all this money.
I just love Portia's all this time, because it's literally the exact
All
same line
this time?
that Albus Dumbledore asks Snape. All this time? Always.
But you can tell when she says all this time.
Yeah.
Look at Penelope's face.
She's looking at every struggle she's ever been through, and Penelope's like, that's why I didn't tell you.
Of all 3 people who just found out how much money she currently had in her possession, the only person she was worried about their reaction was Portia.
Yeah.
She looked like Portia might jump on her like a tigress right there. Like, she had real fear on her face. So I want to I've talked about this
Portia
earlier a
is
little bit.
100% the what's mine is yours and yours is mine. We are family.
What's mine is mine and what's yours is mine, because I'm your mother.
Well, I mean, Varley definitely got that in season 4.
Yeah. But I wrote down what Colin's motivations were in this scene. And okay, so I'll start, like, I'll say here, like, he's mirroring Daphne, Anthony, and Violet from the Marina debacle. He's taking over to help because he still sees Pen as the delicate little girl getting champagne dumped on her. And this is because the rival that got chosen is Cressida. I think if Penn would have come in and it would have been Lord Cho found out, Lady Cho found out,
Lady Joy.
Varley found out. You know, I mean, we can't say Kenworthy anymore. She's not a Kenworthy. But if she said, Anthony showed up at my door, if it was anyone else, Colin might not have gone into this mode. But because it was Cressida, and Cressida has always bullied Penn,
Yeah.
Colin goes into even worse hero mode because he's seeing Penelope as the young girl 3 years ago who Cressida actively bullied, right?
Yeah.
So Colin's motivations, I decided, needed to be discussed here, and I have 7 of them. 1, this must be resolved before Anthony finds out. 2, this must be resolved before the Queen finds out. 3, this must be resolved before the whole of Mayfair finds out. 4, he knows that this will be the nail in the Featherington coffin. 5, he knows Penn could be beheaded, thrown out of society, or transported to Australia or other lands far off if the Queen chooses to go that route. 6, he can finally prove to himself that he deserves to be loved by this, badass woman. And 7, and I think is the biggest one, he wants to be Penelope's hero. And I don't want to say he has a hero complex.
Be your hero.
I think there are so many
Let
girls.
Me take away your pain.
Exactly.
I'll stand by you, forever. You can take my breath away. I can be your Colin.
That's so funny.
This episode's a mess. I'm so sorry.
But I think, like, because he grew up with Greek mythology, the Odyssey, Hercules, there's all these heroes. And
Megara did not need saving. Let me just put it out.
No, but Hercules did all of those heroic things.
Yes.
Like, so that's what Colin grew up with. Like, girls who grow up with fairy tales and stuff, they want a happily ever after, and then they learn in life that doesn't exist. Colin has to learn that you don't have to be a hero to be loved, right?
Oh my god, I so wish they'd gone as Hercules and Megara to the masquerade.
Oh, that would have been great.
Because Hercules thought that Megara was this poor, helpless heroine, only to find out she was kind of the villain. Well, not really, but you know what I mean, like in league with the villain at least. And that kind of goes along with Lady Whistledown. But it turns out she was pure of heart after all.
Okay, so, and here's where I said, like, Portia's so relieved to hear that Colin won't annul and that he's going to protect Penn that she then puts all of the responsibility on him because that's her patriarchal conditioning.
Also, along with the list that you just stated, I think there is also another motivation and time crunch that he is aware of. Even though I'm not currently sleeping with Penelope, I have slept with Penelope, and until that we know that she is not with child or is with child, like that is going to drive his protective instincts even further. Because he's said many times, like, you have lain with me. You know what that means. Like, you could be with child.
And he knows how the servant system works. So it's going to get out at some point that they're not sleeping together. And if she does turn out to be pregnant, he doesn't want it getting out that they did anything before the marriage, because his goal was for her to
protect her
be unsullied, for her reputation to be unsullied. So he's got to take care of this quickly so that they can go back to being married, like how they're supposed to be. I'm not going to
fault him. Like, I can understand that he would. Well, I will fault him, but like, I understand where this protective male drive is coming from, especially with the influence he's had of Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
But I really dislike the way that he went about it. And like, this whole scene gave me the absolute ick where Colin was involved. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, you are not my Colin.
And then the sentence that bothered me, and I had to sit and think about it when I was doing notes. I actually paused and thought about it. Like, why does Colin end up saying, you won't pay her one single penny?
Yeah.
Right? So I just sit and think on that. And I think there's a couple of reasons. One, if we take from the book, like, he knows they could pay Cressida, but then Cressida could come back later and say, I want
Well,
more
okay.
money to stay quiet.
Penelope says, but Colin, it is my. Do you think she's going to say my money or my problem to solve? Fill in the blank. Drop comments below. What do you believe she was about to say?
Yeah, I think she was going to say it's my problem to solve.
Hmm.
And because she is so worried about what society says men can do and how she grew up with her father, she
Mm-hmm.
is worried about giving the money she made to a man.
Yeah. I don't believe Colin would ever even try to manage the money outside of, would you allow me to invest it for you?
Well, right. And she's looking at, he tried to invest in the mine scheme, and of course he found out it was fraud. And that should tell her all she needs to know really about
That he does
him
his due
handling
diligence.
money, that he does his research and due diligence. But she's also looking at, nobody knows, we don't know at this point if he actually gave the money over or not.
Mm.
That's still speculation. She's still speculating. And then we find out later that he has to get a signature for a large sum of money out of the coffers, right? So in this moment, I think they're still newly married. They haven't figured, they have this huge problem they have to deal with like on day one. They're not able to learn to live together and be together and have that normal ramp up time. I mean, they got married with this huge thing hanging over their heads. Thanks, Jess Brownell. Well, it was still going on when,
Well, in the books, at least he was sleeping with her. And not that it's all about sex, but like at least they still had their honeymoon period. Like he
well,
was
because
angry and he was still.
he found out before he proposed.
Yes.
So the problem was different in the book where she thought
I think it should have
he
been that way
had to marry
around.
her. Yeah. It was her low self-esteem that was
Because
driving everything in the book.
because at least in the book, the motivation was at the end of the day, he loved her more than he hated Whistledown. But to find
In the
out the
book, he
other way
didn't
around,
hate Whistledown. Whistledown was
no.
not as polarizing of a character as it is in the show.
But instead, they made it just so.
Such a big deal for no
It's
reason.
such a big deal. And I really dislike that they did that. Because, like, I mean, to be fair, I don't particularly care for book Colin all that much, the way that he treats Penelope.
Mm-mm.
And kind of belittles her more than Cressida ever did in like so much of a cruel way. Oh well,
Yeah, but
Cressida
he
can get away with
handled
it
Whistledown in such a way, in
so
a
much better.
way better way than Show Colin.
Yes.
But honestly, but like I think that's because they created Whistledown in the show is way more polarizing, and they gave a season of two seasons actually if you count Queen Charlotte of Penelope
Being a bit
feeling the
nasty. Yeah.
power of Whistledown and trying to keep her readers entertained and not really writing for herself anymore, which is what
Yes.
created the bad stuff,
Yes.
like protecting the people she loved, but also playing to the crowd instead of just doing it because she loved it anymore.
Yeah.
Now, going back, the second thing I think the reason Colin didn't let her spend the money is because if he let her take care of this situation, even if he supported her decision, it would not allow him to earn her favor. And his main goal is to earn back her favor because of what he said that he knows hurt her so badly. It hurt her so badly she quit writing to him, and
Mm-hmm.
they'd been friends for years, so he knows it's serious. Even if she forgave him like instantly, he knows he hurt her feelings very badly, and he wants to earn back.
He's
And
trying to
this
be
is
in his
all in his
male
own mind.
masculine era and save the girl, but he doesn't realize that male
He wants to
masculine.
feel like he deserves her, and if she pays the thing herself, he won't feel like he earned the right to be loved by her.
Yeah.
And that's sad. And then three, I got one more. Sorry. His ego and pride. And for me, this is the less likely option because Colin's never been one to let his ego or his pride get in the way. And in season three, it looks like there are times where, much similarly to Anthony, that he seems like it's all about his ego, but I don't think it is. I think this is his pride for Pen. I think that the reason he won't let Pen spend the money is because she worked hard to earn that money. He acknowledges what she had to do to earn that money. She had to go to every single ball she was invited to, even if she wasn't going to get to dance, even if people were going to speculate about her. She put herself in a place to get bullied. She had to crawl out of isolation where most people would bury their head in the sand forever. She couldn't because she needed to write about society to continue her business. She had to go into parts of town that were dangerous. Like he acknowledges, I think, in this moment the amount of work she put in, and ultimately he is proud of her, although he's jealous, He wants her to be able to keep the money that she earned because that's a purpose he has. He has always wanted to work and earn money and feel like he had a purpose. So he won't let her. And I said, like, she tries to advocate for herself and, she's trying to speak up, but it's foreign to her. She's not
Yes.
done it. But Portia is the one that escalates things when she's like, then you will pay it, Mr. Bridgerton, right? And
The writers here, I hate this line. I will not cower to Miss Cowper. Like, cower to Cowper. Like, really? You couldn't come up with any other synonym for cower
I
that
think
didn't
I think they
sound
did it
like
because it's
Cowper?
not just alliteration, it's like part of the word.
I know. I don't like it. It feels like lazy writing to me.
It could be. Or it feels like cower, cowper. That's fun to say. Or they specifically wanted to trip up Luke Newton. Because that seems like a line that he would
Just like,
trip
yeah,
up because it sounds so similar.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Not to say they're out there sabotaging his performance or anything, but I think
Yes.
sometimes writers don't realize that something that sounds good in writing is not easy to say.
Yeah. Tongue tied.
But that, like, Portia says, then you must pay her, right? And when he says, I will
Perhaps
not
you will.
cower
No,
to
he says
Miss,
perhaps you will pay her.
perhaps you will pay her. Because I still think she's trying to map out how much money she now thinks she has access to.
Yes.
And when he says he will not cower, then Eloise goes, then what are we to do? Like, she wants to help as well. And both ladies have fully turned
Well,
away from Penn.
but he doesn't just say, I will not cower to Miss Cowper. I will call on her tomorrow, bring her to see that this course of action is ruinous for everyone involved. And yet again, the whole line that Penelope dropped on him after the wedding scene comes into play. You do not know what it is like to be a woman. You do not know what it's like to have the perils of a woman. He has no understanding. He goes in there with complete
He does not
mansplaining.
realize that Cressida has nothing to lose anymore.
There is no more ruin that she could be in than having to marry an aged old dude who wants to spill his crusty old seed in her multiple times over.
I
Gross.
still had food to eat, Tosh.
Sorry. Comes out and it's like, poof.
Like, no, and I agree with you. And
He mansplained the
but
whole situation to her, and that's why she got angrier.
yeah, oh yeah, we'll get into the mansplaining when we get to that scene. But and I think that because he believes this is the only way forward, he's not wrong. From his point of view, this is the only way forward for him to be the hero.
Sorry. I'm reading what comes next. It is the only way forward. Pensive music fades out. Enticing music plays. Kissing. Panting.
But anyways, I'm not done talking about. I don't
I
want to
know.
get into
I was
that
just
scene yet.
reading ahead and I was like, that's a
Yeah.
change.
So, first of all, Penn is just aghast. When her mother says, then perhaps you will pay it, Penn is aghast at thinking about Colin paying that kind of money to help her. She just can't even do it. Miss hyper independent little girl that she is. And I'm calling her out for that because I'm super hyper independent too. And it's easier for me to talk about somebody else being hyper independent than to bring it up about myself.
We don't put mirrors around here.
But I love the editing here. I don't think it's so much and it might be cinematography. We'll throw them in as well. But when both Portia and Eloise turn to Colin because he's the man in the room, because I think a lot of season 3 was a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a dissertation on the perils of patriarchy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they both turn to him like he's going to fix everything and he's going to save the day. And they completely, at this point, isolate Penn outside of the group. And it's the three of them, much like Violet, Anthony, and Daphne,
Yes.
deciding
But
how they're going to help Colin.
isn't it ironic that he's got 3 women in this room who claim to be, well, not claim to be, but act very,
Masculine?
no, very feminist, right? You've got Penelope who's going outside the bounds of society to create
Mhm.
her own path forward and have a
Mhm.
career. You've got
And Eloise
Portia.
talks about doing that.
Yeah,
And
we've got
wants to do
Portia
that.
who literally bends the rules of society so that she can exist without a man. Well, at least
Oh, she
a baby man would be fine.
she breaks the rules. Lady Danbury bends them. Portia breaks them. She just
Yes,
doesn't want people to find out she's broken them.
yes. And not to mention, like, I do believe that she was, for a large part, not controlling Archibald, but, like, at least trying to hold things together while he was around, at least, as well. And then we've
Mhm.
got And then we've got Eloise, who believes that women should be able to do whatever a man can do, and that women should not need a man and they can live their lives, in wholesome quietness. And yet, all three of these women, well, not Penelope, obviously, but
Not all three.
two of these women are just completely wiping away their entire existence of belief system, their entire moral compass, to then say, well, you're just a girl. Colin can solve this. And it just felt gross to me. This whole scene just didn't play out Eloise is so Portia's calculating, but Eloise is just vibes. She just goes off vibes. She doesn't really think anything through. It's just whatever comes out of her mouth. And I failed to believe that Eloise would actually go along with this plan and let Penelope be trampled over, especially because Eloise has just as much of a savior complex as what Colin does, where Penelope is involved. She would have been like, just let Penelope speak. Let's hear what she has to say. No way
But I
would she
think
just go along
she
with
doesn't,
Colin.
and I say that. I think the reason she forgets herself is because Colin is talking and speaking in the mannerism of Anthony so much that Eloise is reacting how she would have if it was Anthony giving the orders, right?
Yeah.
Eloise does not balk at Anthony. Anthony is the head of the house. He is
Anthony
the Lord.
Borg, her is like, all those jokes of like, death doesn't bow to Chuck Norris. Sorry, Chuck
Yeah.
Norris doesn't bow to death. Death bows to, Anthony is afraid of Eloise, 100%.
I don't know if Anthony's afraid of Eloise, but
Afraid of
they
dealing
don't
with her.
of dealing with her. Yeah, they don't talk a lot, but I think that Anthony, think about season 2 coming in the room. Great, the whole family's here. We're all going to the races, right? That's what she's used to. She's used to Anthony dictating what she does, how she does, whatever. And because her personality at this point is being all talk and no action, she might complain about the plan or complain about what needs to be done, but she won't actually take action to do something different. And because Colin is acting so much like Anthony in this moment, I think Eloise kind of forgets herself and doesn't realize that they're isolating
I
Penelope.
suspect it is also that she still feels guilty for not telling Colin in advance that Penelope was Lady Whistledown, and feels like, well, maybe if I told him all this beforehand, he would have known what he was getting
We
into, and
wouldn't be
so I feel
here,
partially to
right?
blame for the situation we're in.
Yeah. So going back to the editing, what I wrote was I said the editing of this scene is so good, and we'll say cinematography, like the way it was
Yeah.
filmed, because Colin is facing Eloise and Portia, both looking expectantly to him for guidance, and that puts them in the middle as a barrier between Colin and Penelope. So Colin and Penelope, metaphorically, are as far apart as they can be from each other in this moment. They're on either sides of this coin of this problem. And Eloise and Portia are interfering in their marriage because this is their marriage problem, right? They're interfering and they're creating a barrier between these two. And the way the scene is filmed and edited, we have the portrait of Edmund and Violet up there looking down on them. And we see that portrait again when they're starting to come back around to each other and they want to talk to each other at Fran's wedding. So it's important to me here that that is in the shot. It didn't need to be. They could have been in closer, but they included it. And I think the reason they did, because if you look at the portrait, Edmund and Violet are so close that it looks like Violet is sitting on his lap, right? Like they are just that close. Like she's sitting on his lap and he is behind her. And I think that this is like the path forward for Colin and Penn is that Colin needs to realize, and he's trying to support his wife. He's just doing it in the way he was taught instead of following his intuition, right? But he needs to support Penn and he needs to put his wife first. And Penelope needs to be able to receive support from her husband.
Well,
Because
the second
Penelope
that
that's standing in that room, I don't think would ever sit on her husband's lap. She sat beside him, she has held his hand, but I don't see her sitting for a portrait like that because that's giving too much. Like she would feel like she's putting too much, and I'm not talking weight here, but that she's putting too much responsibility for herself and for her husband to give him that kind
it
of
just feels like,
responsibility to support her.
for Christmas, Santa Claus, I would like a train set.
Well, I
Except
think it looks
it'd
good
be
on
for Christmas, Santa Claus. Can we just wipe Cressida from existence?
right. I don't think Penn, if somebody said, hey, you need to sit for a portrait And Violet said, "Why don't you sit like Edmund and I, since you were friends to lovers, you were friends to marriage too." And Penn would be like, "No, I can't do that. I would hurt his legs. I would break him."
She wouldn't
That's
even be tall enough to get onto his lap.
He'd have to lift her up.
Gets the step stool out.
Get the step ladder. Climb on up here, Penn.
I really
But I
want
think
someone to
they
make a
both,
meme of just like Colin carrying around a step stool for her.
oh,
Come
for
on,
real,
Melly,
like
make it happen.
the first ever man bag in existence is just for him to carry around a step stool.
Mhm.
That's so funny. Like where men start carrying those canes, like Lady Danbury's cane, he's walking around with the step
Yeah.
stool, using it as a
Yeah.
cane until Penn needs it.
I don't know. Like, I still hold so much issue with this because the fact that he's not even willing to hear Penelope out. It's just do what I say because I said it. And that's very authoritarian. It's very Antony. And it gives me such bad ick because you're not even willing to hear what she has to say. You're like, you got us into this mess. You don't get a say anymore. And it's gross to me. I really, really dislike
Well, and I don't, and that's the thing, like, he is trying to support her, but he's not including her. And that's what he needs to learn how to do, that to support someone,
It
much
doesn't
like
mean
in
taking
season
over.
2. In season 2, when he tells her that he's considering investing, that's them. That was very much a spousal kind of conversation,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yes.
he's talking about finances. He doesn't realize it at the time, but he's talking about finances with his future wife and like what would build their future together. And personally, I think, because in my theory, he really was wanting to ask Jack to propose because he figured Jack would accept it, not Portia. But he was very much acting like a suitor
Jack would
in
be
that
like,
moment.
absolutely take another financial burden off my hands.
Jack would be like, Portia doesn't like the Bridgertons. She's acting like she doesn't want the Bridgertons involved,
He
but
would play it out like, well, Portia's not that fond of the Bridgertons, but if you invest enough, that will tie our families
yeah,
together.
if you invest enough, then maybe it'll change her mind. Yeah, I think that was the route they went because they completely stopped talking when Penn walked in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think he thought Colin was green and he was going to get a lot of money out of him and manipulate the fact that he cared for one of the daughters. But yeah, I digress. I think that Colin wants so much to be the hero that he's forgetting to include his wife in the plan that saves his wife. And it bothers me, like, the moment that I get bothered by him, that it becomes more about being the hero than it is about his love for Penn,
Mm-hmm.
is as soon at the end when he says, "I will go see Miss Cowper. I will do this. I will do that." And it's all about him.
Yeah.
And this is the only path forward because at that point in time, he is so dead set on he has to save the day that he is unwilling to look at any other path forward. And so that is where his big mistake was. But I feel like it was provoked, him getting to that point was provoked by Portia and Eloise falling into their patriarchal conditioning. And he knows better. Like, he knows Penelope's intelligent. He knows that she's smart, but he's feeling that headiness of the women are looking to me that he just forgets in that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Forgets not to be a douchebag.
Yeah, and she's just sitting there like,
What did I marry?
she hasn't learned how to speak up for herself. And in this moment, it just ran away from her. Like, I would have loved if this would have been the scene like we got in season 4 where Mrs. Wilson like yells in the drawing room.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
Penelope is not new to the Bridgertons. She's been in the drawing room plenty
Lets
of
out of her
times.
megaphone. I'm
I
still in
think
the
she,
room.
I think she knows how to get everyone's attention and she didn't even try.
Yeah, by fainting.
Part of the reason I think that because I see this as a regression for her is because Portia was in the room.
Yes. Because Portia does make her regress emotionally, obviously.
Yep.
Because PTSD. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we have officially, and hats off to us. We're both still fully, I wouldn't say able bodied. Neither of us is able bodied. We
We're
lost
still
limbs,
friends,
but not
though.
to each other. We did
We're
well.
not mad at each other.
I don't know. I'm mad that it was pear and not apple. This is the
Yeah, but
closest
I
can
didn't
get
make
to.
that.
This is the closest I can get to importing my Australian fruit. Is the confectionery company. It's an Australian candy company. It does fake fruit stuff.
So everybody out there, please comment wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, if you think that Pen was worried about her money or the fact that it was her problem.
Yeah.
What was she going to say when Colin cut her off? Let's continue that conversation.
How do you think that Penelope was wanting to handle it? Was she wanting to just pay the money and be done with it? Was she wanting to come up with other solutions? Was she just wanting to talk it out and actually communicate? Like, it's
I think she just went there. All she knew in that moment, partially, I think, because her mother said, "Don't tell Colin." I think she needed to tell Colin right now. Does that make sense?
I
Like,
think
she
it
didn't
was
want to
that
lie anymore.
she'd had so many secrets between them that she's like, I cannot have this come out from anyone else but from me.
But me.
And if I have my mum with me, she can't say it before me. So I'm gonna keep my mum in my eyesight because no one is going to disrupt my marriage in the same way again by holding a lie over me.
But I also think, like, she's trying to be a cycle breaker here because she knows how her mom has dealt with stuff, that she had to go do it instantly in the moment. I don't think she had a plan. I don't think she thought Colin and everyone else would immediately jump into freak out mode, right? I think she thought she would tell everyone and then maybe her and Colin would talk about it together. But I truly think all she had come up with at the moment was, well, I have the money. I could pay her, because she doesn't say I will. She says I could. And I think that lets us know that that's not her plan.
It's just an option.
It's an option. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is
viable.
another path forward if we want to discuss it.
I think that's what she was doing. I don't think she was saying that she wanted to pay it. I think she was just saying that is an option should you think that's a good idea.
Well, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if Colin thinks it's a good idea. I think in her heart of hearts, she was hoping that her coming to him and being honest immediately would fix everything, and then they could come up with a plan together as a married couple. But the conversation ended up happening with Eloise, who's always taken control of their relationship and their friendship, and Eloise has always made the rules in their friendship, and then Portia, who's always made the rules in the house she lived her whole life, that there was no chance for Penelope in this moment, none whatsoever. And I just find it amazing that not a single other Bridgerton even stepped foot in this drawing room or walked past it this entire time.
The jokes. Hyacinth is sneakily listening outside, preparing to write Lady Whistledown 2.0, gathering her information. All right, for today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode. If you have any tangents you would like to share, please find the Ladies Bridgerton on Facebook and YouTube. Enjoying the podcast, please click like, subscribe, and follow wherever you listen.
And once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two mad, tangenty, non-able-bodied women. Yours truly.
I don't. Yours truly, Tash the Kiwi.
Pregnancy brain. Yours truly, Tash the Kiwi, because I talked over her. And Lady Patty.